champion Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D energy.
Hey, so glad you could join us. How are you? It is Big D Energy. I am not Neil Rule. He is not Darren McCarty. Sean Baligian and Lindsey Hunter with you. What's up, Lindsey?
What's up? What's up, Sean?
How's the voice, man?
It's much better than last week. I didn't yell as much this week at the AAU event we went to. The week before, though, I couldn't even, it was just a hissing noise coming from my throat. It was, But I'm better. I didn't yell at as much. There were two referees that this weekend, though, that were awful. I want to put that on record. They were the worst.
Nothing worse.
They were the worst
Nothing worse.
refs that I've ever been associated with in my existence.
Bad?
They were bad. And I'm boycotting these two guys. I don't want them to be hired anymore for any kid events.
All right, can you? We're not going to divulge names, but now listen. We didn't plan on going here, but we're going there now. What, Lindsey? What was it? Was it everything? Was it one thing in particular? Was it demeanor? What? How would you describe it?
They were. So first of all, I'm being a basketball guy. If I see a ref not in position, I'm never gonna say you made the right call. If you're not in position, I'm pissed. So when you miss a call, don't come to me and say I missed it. No, you weren't in position. If you're in position, you make a call, I'm all right, cool, whatever. These dudes weren't in position. Just baffling to me how, most refs you can understand, even young refs or refs that aren't, professionals, they have a certain thing, they call certain things, and you know that. These two idiots were just out there throwing darts in the night, just shit that I was just baffling to me. How in the hell could you hire these guys? And I don't know, man. I was very, I got a technical. I ran out on the floor a couple of times. It was baffling to me.
See, this is the thing that cracks me up because Lord knows, and I'm being serious, officials' jobs are difficult.
Very.
There's a reason why officials, we're basically begging for officials at a lot of levels, okay?
Yes.
It is one thing if you're hearing that from Joe Couch Potato, okay? But if you're hearing it from a guy that played in the league and knows a little something about basketball, has coached and has been there every stop of the way, you might want to take stock at what he's saying.
Yeah, and I'm, referee, I always go into game, even when I played. Certain refs we knew, hey, he knew we was going to give him shit. And we knew he was going to, do what he does. That's just part of the game. That's part of the playing the game. I'm going to fight for my team. I'm going to get on you, but it's not personal. After the game, it's cool. I can go to dinner with you.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
I take that approach all levels. Even after the game, I talked to the guys, and I told them they were bad. I was like, you guys are the worst refs I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, you know what? I think you guys probably are good people. You're probably good people. But this is not the field you need to be in. You know what I'm saying? You guys are shit.
How did they take that?
They laughed, and they were like, well, at least you think we're good people. I'm like, yeah, it ain't personal.
Yeah,
you guys, this is not the field. Don't go into this because you're not going to get very far.
Never is. Yeah, it's. I can tell you what, you and I could talk about that as, a former athlete in this town. I can't tell you how many times somebody, in particular with the Lions back in the day, somebody was like, you made it personal. I was like, how to make it personal, man?
Right.
If you didn't play well, if you're not playing well, that's not personal.
That's not personal.
I didn't say this guy, can you believe what a POS he is? And, things like that. So there's a fine line. There's a fine line.
Right.
We buried the lead, and there's a reason why we buried the lead. Yeah. CJGJ carted off the field.
No! God, please, no! No!
And unfortunately, Sean, whenever you have an injury that there was nobody around you, nobody fell on you,
that's the worst.
Yeah, man.
It's the worst.
You just in any sport, every time I see an injury that a guy just, he's running and he cut, and his knee gave out or something, it's just bad. It's never good news.
That's supposed to happen when we 50-somethings, right?
Right.
I mean, it is. It happened to me a few years ago. My leg ain't ever going to work the same, and that's okay.
Right.
But when you're young and everything, here's the thing, and you know this many, many years ago, this was during the Mariucci era, I figured out that training camp is what I affectionately refer to as camp happy times. Because everybody's on the same page.
Right.
Everybody's in the best shape of their life. Everybody is learning the lessons from last year, et cetera, et cetera. This year is different. I'll be the first one to say it. This year is different. These expectations and the lofty expectations of that are warranted. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that you guys are crazy, meaning fans out there, for thinking this team's going to do that and the other thing. I get it. I get it. The one thing that I liked out of the guys over the weekend, Lindsey, is the reality check that multiple people from the Detroit Lions gave everybody. And I think most importantly themselves. Right. It wasn't even to the fans per se, but it was Dan Campbell coming out and saying, in essence, we haven't done shit yet. Okay? Right. This is great. I'm glad that there are expectations. Jared Goff saying the same thing. I love hearing that stuff because, to me, this team was at its best last year when a lot of people gave up on them. When a lot of people, after that start, people said, oh my gosh, are we going to have to start talking about a new coach again? And Goff is trash and, this, that, and the other thing. That is when this team, when they were backed up against the wall and when they could become that, that unit, that's when this team did there. And I'm glad that they take that attitude. Something like this is going to help, but this is a team that, has in their back pocket, hey, man, we've been against the wall before, and we've responded.
Right. Well, the thing about coaching teams with lofty expectations is you have to stay grounded. And I think Dan Campbell understands that, and he's letting them know, we haven't done anything. Like, we haven't won anything. We haven't made the playoffs.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't stop the fact that people, the fans, and everybody around shouldn't have expectations, high expectations for this team to, in my opinion, if I'm a Lions fan, I'm thinking we should be able to compete for the Super Bowl. We should be talking Super Bowl. Like, that's what I would think. A lot of them don't feel that way. Spinmo doesn't feel that way, but I feel that way if I'm a fan, because I think you've proven that you can be an above average team. There are only a couple of teams that are, really, really true Super Bowl contenders. And that's every year in every, championship teams in every sport.
Sure.
And I don't see why the Lions shouldn't feel that way. But along with that is getting through the injuries, getting through training camp, overcoming some adversity. And that's what we're seeing now. So now they're going to have to figure out who's going to step up, who's next man up.
Branch, Joseph, Walker, whatever the case may be. This goes to show you how different this franchise is, and I want to get your take, especially, I don't know if you guys know this, he's a former professional athlete. I don't know if you guys know that. But no, when you have that injury, Lindsey, it can be decimating to the fan base.
Right.
But the guys kind of, exactly what you just said, hey, boys, next man up. Like, we're sitting here going, oh, no. Because, listen, this franchise is finally at a place where there is depth at multiple positions. Right. And it's so important to have that in case something like this happens. Obviously, basketball is a different sport. You're talking about a much different roster size, et cetera, et cetera. Right. But is there a psychological thing for you guys when somebody goes down? Obviously, if the star goes down, of course. But,
yes.
A guy that you thought was going to be part of the rotation, whether the 6, the 7, the 8, or whatever, right. Is there something that you guys in the room, like, literally it hits you like it hits fans?
It does. It's you feel, of course, we all feel bad when anybody has an injury.
Yeah.
As a teammate, you want to console them. You want to be like, man, it's all right. We got your back. Like, and sometimes it galvanizes the group, and say, look, we got to step up. Like, everybody has to step their game up. You really, as a team, you hate injuries and you hate things like that to happen. But I've seen teams that have really pulled together and played even better than expected. And that's what you hope for with the Lions. You hope, guys step up and guys can really fill that gap.
Yeah. No, Spence, what do you think? I know you and I talked about this when we were in last week. Listen, I already got my concerns about the run game. I'm not going to – I'm just going to shoot straight with you. Let me get this out of the – do I think the Lions are better? Absolutely. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Absolutely. Do I think they're going to win the division? Absolutely. And for the first time in my life, if somebody said what you said, if Flannel said to me today, you know what? I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go –
right.
Like, I'm not joking. I can't say the first time. I kind of felt that way back in the early 90s as well. But, I mean, let's be honest. If some young slap whippersnapper said, I think they're going to the Super Bowl in the past, I can see T. Foss in particular. T. Foss kind of giving the look like, really, are we? Lindsey, if somebody said that to me today, I go, I don't see it, but I don't think you're crazy. You know what I mean? Right. How often have we been able to say that?
Never.
Yeah. Spence, what do you think about this? Because I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think you were on the same page as me. I can't get some of the woes stopping the run in particular out of my head. That's something I'm going to have to see it. You can tell me until you're blue in the face, well, they're going to be better because of this. You brought up a great point about bringing one of those safeties into the box. Yes, I'm down. But until I actually see them not get lit up, that Carolina game, I wish I could just take that file out of my brain. That was just such a bad feeling. Is this a big loss?
Yeah, this is a huge loss. It is. This is a guy who is not only a great player, but a leader, a vocal leader in the back end of that defense, especially with a new secondary pretty much all together. Having a guy like that who's talking, who makes things happen, who can galvanize the team back there really helps. And when you lose that in the first practice of the season, now we don't know yet what the extent of the injury is. Hopefully it's nothing too crazy, but like Lindsey said, a non-contact knee, leg injury, your mind instantly goes to ACL, Achilles, something like that.
Yeah.
God forbid it's one of those, but man, it sucks. It sucks because he is a vocal leader. He leads with his play on the field, and you just lost all of that in the blink of an eye.
Spammer, for you, you're a big Lions fan. Did that zap some of your enthusiasm going forward toward the season? Like, did it take something away from you saying, like, man, we might not be what I think we were going to be?
I can't lie and say it didn't. I still think they'll be able to win the North without, with this injury.
Agreed.
I still think they'll be able to do some things that we expect them to, but this is a guy he was a top player on a top team on a Super Bowl roster last year. Like, it's not something you can easily replace. So we'll have to see, if it is. Again, we don't want to speculate on the extent of the injury, but it doesn't sound great. So if he does have to miss serious time, it is next man up mentality.
Well, like Lindsey said, and I'm glad that you said that, and I'm going to follow it. Listen, I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is. What we can say is usually when you have one of those non-contact type of situations, that's when, take it from the guy who's been there and done that, that's when you have to hold your breath and go, oh, dear Lord, I hope this isn't one of those usually situations. So, all right, we're up against it. So much again, too. We're going to talk a lot of Lions. Listen, I'm telling you point blank, I am in total football mode. We're this close to Crazy Month, and if you haven't figured out what Crazy Month is, we'll tell you about that. Got some Piston stuff for you. I think the odds makers have lost their, I almost said a word I can't say, freaking minds. And Lindsey and I are going to make some money. I'll tell you about that later as well. But first,
let me tell you guys about Planet Fitness, because Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. The gym that has always been known for being clean is now cleaner than ever. You can get a full-body workout in just 30 minutes in a 30-minute circuit, and all memberships include fitness training. You can get all that for just $10 a month, or upgrade to the Black Card for $24.99 and get the use of all the amenities. And, of course, high school students ages of 14 and 19 can work out for free all summer long, thanks to the High School Summer Pass. To learn more or to join, you can go in club or visit them online at planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
I love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Think you could play some golf? How about beating a professional athlete? It's the Woodward Sports Thursday Night Golf League live at 5 Iron Golf for 12 consecutive weeks, featuring famous courses from around the world, played on a state-of-the-art TrackMan simulators, in 5 Iron Golf's new 25,000 square foot facility in downtown Detroit. Can you beat Darren McCarty on hole 12 at Augusta National? What about outperforming Braylon Edwards on hole 8 at Pebble Beach? Do you have what it takes? If so, register for your chance to win a free foursome today. Just follow us on Twitter and IG before August 1st, so you don't got a lot of time left, and direct message the word golf for your chance to win. It's 5 Iron Golf.
All right, welcome back in. Obviously, we're talking a lot about CJGJ. In case you're just joining us or you live in a cave, unfortunately, he was carted off the field today out in Allen Park. I don't want to make any speculation. We're going to keep saying that, but those non-contact injuries, I think you guys are educated enough as sports fans to realize those usually aren't good situations, as Lindsey pointed out. And listen, so many people I've been kind of glancing over at the chat and everything. You guys are right. The good position this franchise is in right now is, and this is why people like me were yelling at people like you a couple of years ago saying, give Brad some time. Give Brad Holmes some time. He's got to build this depth. Well, you know what? He has built the depth, and he got the extra draft picks, etc. And this was, we're gonna take one in 2021, and we're gonna have more picks. We're gonna have higher picks. We got to make the best of them. The good news is they do have the depth. The bad news is this was a guy that was also supposed to play an integral part of said depth. And I don't care what anybody says. When you replace a guy with a guy who's below him on the depth chart, that's a downgrade. I mean, that's the way it is. So, obviously, you don't want to see that situation, Lindsey.
Yeah, the depth will be tested.
Yep.
Right away, off the bat. And like you just said, in any sport, if your starter goes down, 9 times out of 10, you're putting a lesser talented guy in that position, and you know that. And the only way to overcome that and to at least make it not as bad as it seems is everybody else has to step up.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to have to see if the defense is going to improve. Like you were saying, the run defense has to be much better. Secondary has to be better.
Yep.
And this was a blow that really didn't need, but it happens. It's the nature of sports. You can't account for injuries, but you know at some point you're going to be affected by it.
And I love to hear you bring that up because we were talking about, some of Dan Campbell's comments and some of Jared Goff's comments. Every guy on the defense was saying that, including their DC. Hey, listen, man, this is great that everybody's putting us on a pedestal. We have to be better. There were moments last year where we got torched, where we didn't have an answer. I love hearing that attitude, man, because we are, I teased this before we went to the break. I've always felt as a guy that grew up here and worked in the media for so many years, when we hit August, it's called Crazy Month, Lindsey.
Right.
And what I mean by that is every Lion fan, they're seeing what's happening at camp. They're hearing the reports.
Right.
Every Spartan fan, every Wolverine fan, you automatically in your mind make your team 2 or 3 games better. It's like something hits you and you're like, man, Spence, I was thinking 7-5 for this Spartan team, but I looked at this Now I'm thinking 9, maybe 10. Like something happens, and the same thing with the Lions. You know, listen, expectations are pretty high as it is. I'm going 11-6 division champion, but you start to see all these reports and you hear about the depth and everything. And Lindsey, something happens, and you. Why not 13-4, not 14-3? And Michigan fans sitting there going, we're going to beat Georgia by 4 touchdowns. I mean, something happens this month. I don't know what it is, but you know, is this cause for us to all go, okay, we better downgrade the Lions now? No, I'm not going there.
Right.
But it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
No, it's definitely not a good thing. I hope the fans aren't like totally jumping off the bandwagon this early, because everybody was so high and so, you know, they weren't at the Michigan Wolverine level of expectations, because they think they're going to go undefeated and win the national championship every single year. Never seems to happen. But I digress. The Lions, hopefully the Lions don't get to the point where they think that all is lost. You know, I don't feel that way. You know, injuries are a part of it. You can never predict who's going to get hurt, when they're going to get hurt. But that's why you have depth. That's why you have guys that you feel like can hold up for some point of time, and hopefully they get better as they fill those roles.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm not sounding the alarm yet, anything like that. I hope none of you are. It's a hit, but this is why Brad Holmes has done what he's done the last couple of years to build the depth. You're hoping that the depth wasn't going to be tested, but you know, it's one of those undeniable things, man. Injuries are part of the game, and it can derail things so quickly. This is where, you know, you have to rely on Branch, and you have to rely on Walker, and you have to, you know, next man up. I love that mentality, man. Next man up. It's going to be interesting. But no, you know what? I mean, that's the good thing. I mean, other than Michigan State, I don't blame any Michigan fan. I'm going to stop you like you did. If you start talking about beating Georgia or something like that, that's when I'm going to go pull back on the reins a little bit.
Or TCU.
Yeah, like just pull back on the reins just a little bit. But hey, listen, guys, seriously, we're at that time where we're going to start. I don't think you're crazy. Michigan is by far the favorite in the Big Ten this year, unquestionably, undoubtedly. And to me, there's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, we want to get back to the playoff, and yeah, you know what, we want to win that playoff game. I'm not going to sit there and accuse you of, okay, it's crazy month. If you say something like that,
right,
quite frankly, those are my expectations. You know, and I know a lot of Michigan fans are going, yeah, we can beat Georgia. That's where. Pull those reins back, but
pump your brakes.
I don't think it's crazy to say we're going to win. Oh, Flannel, you're not one of them, are you?
Yes.
Are you really?
Oh, they're going to win the national championship this year. Hey, Sean, what you were saying earlier, I did not say that last year. I didn't say it the year before. I certainly didn't say it under the early years of Harbaugh, or Rich Rod, or Brady Hoke. This team is different. They went to the playoffs 2 years in a row. They beat Ohio State 2 years in a row. They won the Big Ten championship 2 years in a row. This is the next step in the progression. And Georgia and Alabama, I've talked about. Georgia has lost, 8 first-round draft picks in the last 2 years. Alabama just lost Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Brian Branch. Michigan's the only one out of the returning college football playoff teams to have their quarterback. If there's going to be any year, this is the year.
I just want to make sure it's not August yet, that it's not officially
it's not crazy.
No, listen, Flannel. I was with you 87.7% of the until you went to the Georgia Alabama thing. Like everything that you said, and Lindsey, I don't know if you feel the same way. Yes, prohibitive favorite. Yes, it's finally come true after all the misses of the past. Yes, I don't blame you for thinking we're going to roll over the Big Ten again. I don't blame any of that. I got to stop you at the SEC stuff, man. If they haven't proven that they're next level yet, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
And see, Sean, here's I'm a Michigan sports guy. I like Michigan State. I like Michigan. The only thing I don't like is when the talking heads of Michigan, like Flannel, they just get so high and mighty all the doggone time. It just bugs the hell out of me. That's why I always slam them, because I got buddies that are Michigan fans, and all I hear is, oh, we're going to win. We're the best. And I'm like, dude, shut up until y'all win. I'm sick of y'all every single time. I had to block a couple of them when they were getting ready to play TCU because they were bypassing TCU. Oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. I was like, dude, okay, shut up. When y'all get to the national championship, we'll talk again. But they just they're like Cowboy fans. That's the equivalent of Michigan fans are like Cowboy fans. Every single year they come out and say how great they're going to be. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to do this. I'm like, dude, shut up. I'm sick of the Cowboy. I really dislike Cowboy fans, if you can tell. I cannot stand them. But the Michigan fans are similar to that. And I like Michigan. I don't even dislike them. I just like to see their fans in misery sometimes because they're so gung-ho on being the best.
There was, if you remember a few years ago, there was that shirt that Michigan basketball came out with. John Beilein had that shirt. And I'm still convinced that it was a shot across the SS football program. I really am. But do you remember what the shirt was, that the slogan that Michigan basketball had that one year?
Was it when they were calling themselves a basketball school?
No, do more, say less. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, yes.
I honestly felt like that was a shot against the SS Michigan football program because we were in that period where they constantly told us what they were going to do during Rich Rod. Brady Hoke was the savior. He came home, et cetera, et cetera. And even those first few years of Harbaugh. See, now the thing is, based on what they've done the last couple of years, and I told Ermanni this, because God bless Ryan. I love you, Ryan. You know that. You're my brother. Ryan Ermanni is the guy that you just talked about.
I know.
That is the guy. That is the poster child of that guy. And I told Ryan when I was on with those guys last week, I can't say that anymore. They have bragging rights. Where do you want to go for bragging rights? Do you want to go with pounding Ohio State? Boom. Do you want to go with pounding Michigan State? Boom. Do you want to go with going unbeaten 2 years in a row and getting into the playoffs? Boom. You know what I mean? Well, not unbeaten 2 years ago, but you get the point. They won the Big Ten, lost them out. But unlike Michigan fans, I'll be the first guy to say it. What would I rather have? I'd rather have a Big Ten championship.
No doubt.
Yes.
Any day of the week, I'd rather have a Big Ten championship. So now I can't play that card with Michigan fans. You know, you guess what? You backed it up. You stopped talking and you started winning. So I don't know. It's going to be fun this year in the regard, and I saw a couple people talk about it in the chat. What if Michigan loses? Well, you know what? So what if I'm a Michigan fan? It depends which game. If you lose Ohio State and you lose the conference, but I don't give a crap. If you win the Big Ten and you get back to the playoff, you're going to complain about that?
Right. No,
it's nice to have expectations.
Yeah, they do. They always have love. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. They should. I'm not mad at them expecting to win wanting to win the national championship.
Sure.
But when you start talking about those SEC teams, that's a different animal. And he said they've lost X amount of players. Alabama, and they lose pros every single year. But what happens?
They reload.
Every year.
Every single year. Those guys reload with more pros. That seem to be better than the guys that went pro.
Do you remember the talk a year ago at this time about Georgia?
Yeah.
This was a reload year for Georgia. Well, I'd hate to see when they're loaded. Holy shit.
Right.
All right, we're up against it. What do we got?
We got SMA. SMA, or the Sports Marketing Agency, helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. So if you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com and get the help you deserve.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
All All right, welcome back in. Yeah, I get a little fired up. You know, for me, I'm at the point right now, I'm so ready for football. To me, this is the hardest wait. Forget the previous 6 months.
Right.
Like these last few weeks. Like, I love week 0. I love it. It also happens to do, and I know you know my neck of the woods, Parmenter Cider Mill.
Yep.
Out in lovely Northville. Shout out to Northville. Always opens the day of week 0. So like that's like a holy day for me. So somebody said, MSU hat guy, you're yelling. It's sports. I get fired up, man. What do you want me to say? You know, I think, wow, sorry, I get fired up, dude. That's what sports are supposed to be. So,
Right.
you know, this is going to be really, really exciting. And listen, Michigan fans, I can't stress this to you enough. You are the top dog. Make no mistake about
Right.
that. There's no question about that. You are the measuring stick. You're the, like every other team in this conference is looking up at you. You are going to absolutely positively have to have a Herculean effort, and B, show everybody to knock off one of those teams from the SEC. That is not an anti-Michigan slant at all. You know, because some people take that, man, why are you dogging on? Man, no, you guys watch it? Like,
How it works.
did you see what Georgia did to that TCU team last year? They're just at a different level. I don't know what to tell you.
There's not, Sean, people, they realize it, but everybody just, you know, I think Michigan is close. Like, I think they're close. I think they can compete with SEC teams, you know, and when you get to that, if they can get to that situation where they're in the championship game against one of these SEC teams, if things fall the right way, maybe they could compete and win a national championship. You know how things go in games like that.
Sure.
Big plays happen, mistakes happen. You know, I would love to see it, though. I would love to see it. I would love to see them get in a national championship game against Alabama or Georgia, you know, possibly LSU, you know. They're going to be great. But the SEC reloads every year. I know Michigan, Mike G is on here with his panties in a bunch talking about, Lindsey, do your homework. Michigan's loaded. We know they were loaded last year, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, the SEC's loaded every year.
Every year.
Every year Alabama's loaded. Georgia's loaded. Every single year. Right?
Yep.
So we'll see.
Now, you got to give them their love. I don't care who you root for, and I don't smoke Marlboro Lights, by the way. I don't smoke a damn thing. Listen, I don't care who you root for, and I don't hide it. You got to call it as you see it. I mean, you got to be objective.
Right.
Michigan is something that everybody wants to be right now. And Spencer, you and I were talking before the show. Hey, it wasn't that long ago. Michigan State was something that you wanted to be. And you know what would tick me off? I'll tell you. And I will never become that which I detest. Mm-hmm. Never. But, you know, when D'Antonio was having his years, how many times did people say it was a fraud?
Yeah.
Or you're lucky? Or it's the down Big Ten. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Which was could you imagine saying that to a Michigan fan right now? You'd look like just an asshole. You really would. I have no other. Like, man, you have run roughshod over this conference for 2 years.
Yeah.
You really have.
Yep.
Other than a superhuman effort from Kenneth Walker III, nobody's beating you.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I mean, how do you detract from that? So I don't know why, Lindsey, I've always kind of had an issue with people that can't give the tip of the cap. Like, if you hate Michigan with everything inside you, if you love Michigan and inside with everything inside you, it doesn't matter. You have to give them a tip of the cap for where they're at right now. Period. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're the Big Ten right now. They are the top dog in the Big Ten. And this dude, Mike G, is a clown. But anyway, he thinks I hate Michigan. I just told you I like Michigan. Didn't I say that?
Mm-hmm.
I like Michigan. I have no dog in the fight. I like both teams.
If you don't preach by the gospel of Harbaugh, you hate Michigan in the eyes of Michigan fans.
Well, I'm not gonna walk around in khakis, okay? Yeah. But I still I like Michigan. I like Michigan State. If they win, hey, I'm happy. If they lose, I laugh at their fans. That's just the way I am.
One of my favorite, by the way, one of my favorite things in working in this business is the guy who just joined the stream a couple minutes ago and said we should be mentioning CJGJ. We only did that the first 20 minutes. Welcome to the show, though. Okay, tomorrow, do me a favor. Tomorrow, hit us up and let me know exactly what time you are going to be listening so we can talk exactly what you want to hear at the time that you're listening, okay? Just for you. That's a deal for you. I'll give you my phone number, and you can text me and go, hey, bro, I'm going to be turning in at 11:35. I want to hear about what Yzerman's doing right now. And I'll go, guys, sorry. This is Spencer XYZ129. This is his time. Yeah. He had the slotted time. Yes, we're well aware of CJGJ.
Yes,
we brought it up numerous times. I have a feeling we'll bring it up again before the end of the show as more news gets available. No disrespect intended. All right, so I got to ask you, and for the long-time Michigan State fans, Lindsey, I know you didn't grow up here, but you have had a pretty good seat for the Michigan State thing for years. Spencer, I'm going to tell you this. You're younger than me. There were two times in my life, I'm serious, until we got into the D'Antonio era, where I knew the morning of the game Michigan State was going to win.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, Michigan was always the better team. Right. Not just by a little bit,
by a lot.
But by a lot of it. And I'll tell you, 99, the Plaxico game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew there was nobody that was going to stop Plaxico Burress.
Right.
Even with Drew Henson and that other guy named Tom Brady, like, Michigan was having issues in their secondary. Plaxico was nearly unstoppable.
Monster.
And I was on the radio that night on the Fan, and I was saying, this is weird. I know Michigan State's going to win tomorrow. First time in my entire lifetime. The second time I felt that way was 2008. You and I were talking about that. I'm sure you'll remember that game. And Lindsey, I know what a big fan you are. The way Javon Ringer was running at the time, and the way that Michigan's defense wasn't stopping anybody at the time, listen, as a dad of, at the time, a third grader, I told my son, I go, son, I want you to go to school today, and I want you to tell all the little kids like Flannel that Michigan State is going to kick your ass tomorrow. Like you have my permission to talk shit for the first time in your life and tell them what you're going to do to them tomorrow. Oh, and it didn't start out that way. If you remember, Michigan had a 21-14 lead. My son's looking at me going, I'm going to get killed on Monday, and it's all your fault, Dad. But then Javon Ringer took that game over. Javon Ringer added to the MSU Hall of Fame. Phenomenal running back at Michigan State, Spence.
Yeah, amazing. He was electric, fun to watch. The guy couldn't be stopped. He had two of the best seasons from a running back in Michigan State school history, and I loved seeing it. Very deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and yeah, that game, he was something special.
Yeah, unbelievable. Ran, what was it, 249?
Yes.
249 yards that day. It could have been a lot worse that day, so wanted to give some love out to him. What do you think about Mel Tucker? As a guy, Lindsey is a guy who is, I think it's safe to. You're impartial. I've heard you talk about it in the past. What do you think about Mel Tucker?
I like Mel Tucker a lot. I actually just saw him at some event we were at. I got to talk to him a little bit, and a great guy. I think, it's always difficult at high level programs, to, especially when you're in the same state with a team that's been dominant so long, like Michigan, and you pop in every so often and become dominant, and it's hard to keep that level because a lot of times you're competing for the same guys, you're recruiting classes, or you're competing for some of the same athletes, and I think he's done a good job. Of course, fans are going to be fans, and they're going to demand more, which rightfully so. But I like him as a coach. I like him as a leader of young men. I think he does it the right way, and I think he'll get them back. He'll get them back where they need to be.
Spence, it's almost like, as crazy as this sounds, 2021 was like, I don't want to say the word. It was almost like it was a bad thing. Do you know where I'm getting at with that?
Set the expectations very high.
Because I think people forget this program, after living a pretty charmed life for a while, really fell off in a myriad of ways. And when you have 2021, I think that kind of, I don't know, reset everybody's expectations, and rightfully so. I don't blame anybody for, being in that position where, okay, well, sometimes the road to the top doesn't go like this.
Right.
I mean, sometimes Lindsey, I'll use the Pistons as an example. Growing up, like for us, it was like, all right, so 86, we have to finally beat the Hawks. Yes, we finally beat the Hawks. 87, well, we have to get by the Celtics. Okay, we didn't do it. 88, we finally did it. So now we have to beat the Lakers. We didn't do it in 88, and then it was 89. And it was so funny because I thought your championship team of 04, I think a lot of people around here thought, well, they peaked early. By whose definition?
Right.
It doesn't work that way where you take the incremental steps. And I think sometimes people just assume that that's the way it's always going to work. Well, one step begets the next step again. No, it doesn't work that way.
Well, I look at it as like building a team. You have a plan. Everybody has a plan. You have a basic plan that you are following, but you defer from your plan if another situation comes about that could maybe push you ahead faster.
Bam.
You never know. Like, okay, that 04 team was good without Rasheed Wallace, but, there's a move we can make. Can we make this thing move a little faster? We trade for Rasheed. Now you're looking at a team that's totally different, that may not have been able to get over the hump that year without Rasheed Wallace. Yeah. We probably could have gotten Eastern Conference Finals, maybe even gotten to the finals, but not beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
Now you make a move like that, and you solidify yourself as being elite. And that's how, like you said, the steps, it looks like you can make the progression steps, but it doesn't always work that way. Sports doesn't always work that way.
And for you youngins, Flannel, Spence, and Lindsey can get my back here, you wouldn't believe the outcry from the fans when we went and picked up Rasheed Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
And people were like, oh, he's trouble. He's going to upset the apple cart. He's been a problem think about, Lindsey, you had to live it. I don't have to tell you to think about it. Right. I was on the radio that day, and people were going crazy, losing their mind. And I'm going, dude, listen, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? And Rasheed came in here, didn't just do as the Romans did, became a leader of this team, Linz.
Yes, and that's what people didn't understand about him. He was often vilified because of all the technicals and all that craziness, but Sheed is a team first guy. And when he got here, it just really flowed through our entire organization. It was already there. He just amplified it times 10. And man, we had a confidence that I've never been a part of except on that team, that there was never a team we thought could beat us. Like, even when we lost, we was like, hey, we just didn't play tonight.
It's phenomenal. I tell anybody who listens, I think the last time I was on, we're up against a break, right? I'll save it. How's that? I want to talk about one game in particular in that run, but I don't want Flannel and Spencer both giving me dirty looks, so I'm going to shut up right now.
You know what? That was a hell of a tease, Sean, so you guys should stick around, but you should also stick around for my Lady Jane's read, see where they get me getting this fresh haircut. That, of course, is Lady Jane's. And how would you like to win a new vehicle for you and a friend? That's right, a new car for you and your wife, girlfriend, or best bud. Just get to Lady Jane's and automatically register for your chance to win, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-made Lions. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Yeah, there is a lot of chatter on our stream. We don't know anything for sure. I know Flannel and Spence are going to be, keeping an eye on some of Lions Twitter to see if we hear anything about CJGJ. Nothing's official yet, but as soon as we hear something, I promise we'll have it for you if it happens during the course of this show. Spence.
Yes, I got something right here. It's from Tom Pelissero of ESPN. He says, there's optimism that Lions defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's knee injury is not serious per sources. More tests to come after CJGJ went down in practice today, but as one source put it, he's fine.
Okay.
Love to hear that.
Good news.
Oh, love to hear that. Lindsey.
Still nervous.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gotta be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's it. Here's a crazy thing about it, and I went through it 5 years ago. I tore it, and I didn't know that I tore it.
Yeah.
And people go, how is that possible? I knew a former athlete would know it, but literally, I walked on it it was about a month and a half. And I just noticed all the things that I used to be able to do, I suddenly couldn't do them. And then the pain got so bad, I don't want to go to the doctor guy. Rub some salt on it. Right? And my doctor literally looked at me and he goes, what the hell's wrong with you? You've been walking on a tear for the last month and a half. And just take every precaution. I'm not trying to scare anybody. Just take every precaution, especially that nerve damage. I'm done. That's it. I had a great run. I have no problem. Now I'm just going to eat smoked meat for the rest of my day. And I gained 30 in the last 5 years. It'll be 65 years from now. So that'll be good. Lindsey, before we went to the break, I don't even remember the context in which this came. Oh, you know what? We were talking about the Lions playoff win in January of '92. This is before you were in town. And I said there are always two games that stick out to me in regards to crowd noise, okay? And, the crowds when you're at Comerica Park are loud, but because it's outside, it doesn't say.
Right.
And I brought this up on the air, Spence, I don't know if you remember, so I'm glad Lindsey's here today. The Lions beating the Cowboys and the pick six in that game, there was I'll never, honestly, I think about it and there's a wincing in my ear. I kid you not. Game 7, you guys against New Jersey, when, let's be honest, here's another dirty little secret nobody wants to talk about. Everybody and their brother thought the Pistons were done in that series, except for these guys.
Right.
Everybody around here thought the Pistons were done in that series. They go win, force the Game 7 back at home. There was no way in Hades you guys were going to lose that game.
Nope.
But I remember sitting on press row with the late Jamie Samuelson, and we just looked at each other, eyes. I have never heard a building that loud. Do you have any recollection of that? I've never heard a building that loud.
Yeah, and I remember all those games, especially the games when you can't hear anything, because now there's no coaching to help you, because you can't hear anything in the sidelines.
Yeah.
So now it's it's all us. It's all us out here. And we love those moments because, we don't want to listen to the coaches anyway, most of the time, especially that team. And we felt like we were so ingrained and knew exactly what we were doing. But it was deafening. It was so deafening. And we just, we blew a couple of those games.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't come to play for some odd reason. But we never doubted that we were going to, beat Jersey. We were they can't do anything to beat us. We don't care how many games they take us. They can't beat us. We just felt like that, man. It was a scary, awkward, confidence that team had, man. And I'll never forget sitting in the sauna with Eldon Campbell, Ben, myself, Sheed, and we were, honestly, before the championship game started, and we were talking about sweeping the Lakers. We were like, man, we should sweep these dudes. You know, and we were honestly having, like, nobody was, like, joking. We were like, they're not, like, they shouldn't be on the court with us. And Eldon Campbell was sitting right there like, yeah, man, they shouldn't win a game.
That's awesome.
With his beer in his hand.
That's awesome. And, you know, here's the crazy thing. If Kobe, one of the greatest of all time, doesn't make that heroic shot, guess what? You guys are sweeping their asses. Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that crazy?
Funny story. So after Kobe hits the shot, we go into overtime, and they beat us. Larry Brown yelled at me and said, Lindsey, why didn't you check in the game? I was like, what the hell? Oh, we can do that? Hey, where did you give us that permission? I could just go check in the damn game. And you should have been in the game and guarding Kobe. I was like, damn, you never said we could just go check in. I'll do it next time. Don't worry.
You know what's weird about the championship game? Being there that day, I think because you guys disassembled the Lakers in every way possible, and everybody knew that game was over like that quickly. I always tell, it wasn't, you would think the championship game would be, but because that game was over, it wasn't as loud. It was just this constant roar that didn't match the octave, if you will, of the start of that New Jersey game. Right. There was just this constant roar because that game was over. I mean, it was over like that. That game was over.
It was done.
Oh, was that fun? I love going in Wayback Machine because there were so many fun things. It's almost like Spartan fans, whether we want to admit it or not, Spencer, we've kind of turned into Michigan fans where we talk about things that happened 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? No, I'm serious.
Oh,
And I don't mean a shot Michigan fan. I bet you can actually laugh at it now because, like, I tell people all the time, Lindsey, I go, that Michigan State team in 2013, we beat everybody by double digits. And then I go, oh, good Lord, I've turned into Michigan fan. What am I doing?
We were in the college football playoff first. It's like, oh, shit.
I'm that guy.
Yeah,
and we would have beaten Florida State that year.
Yeah.
You know, the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda shit. You know, that was the funniest thing. Like, I was out at the Rose Bowl, Spence, and like all the Florida State fans were coming in.
Yeah.
And that was could we beat them? You know, with that defense, could we beat them? I mean, that was a real conversation. But it's so much fun to go in the Wayback Machine because there were wins. And speaking of wins, what a terrible segue, but I'm going to roll with it anyway. So I don't know where you guys found this, Spence. I'm going to ask you where you found this.
Yeah.
The over-under for the Pistons, as I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, is where did you find that?
27.5. It is per thelines.com, per Vegas Insider, DraftKings. So 27.5 is what Vegas has there.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to let Lindsey. Lindsey's going to really tee off on this, but I'm going to tell you right now. Do you like money? Are you a fan of money? Like, this is like a live read. Hey, Chad, are you listening? Hi, I'm Sean Baligian for money. If you like money, bury the over 27.5. Mm-hmm. If you like money, bury the over 27.5. That is, Lindsey, I'm almost aghast at it, to be honest with you.
Well, I think what they're looking at is how bad they were last year. Like 17 wins is historically bad. and they're not thinking a team can go from 17, to what, 10 wins. I mean, I said it when they hired Monty. I was giving them, Monty's going to give them 10 to 15 wins. With Cade being back, I think Cade gives us another 8 to 10 wins. With the younger guys having more experience, even without us adding any veteran leadership yet, we don't know if that'll happen. It may happen. I'm still looking for this team to be a border playoff team, fighting, to get in the playoffs or the play-in game. That's where I see this young team. I think they're that talented to compete for that. So they're going to have to, if that's going to happen, they're going to have to be around, 40 wins? Mm-hmm. Close to 40 wins?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm pushing.
And I've already seen a couple people make reference to this in the chat, and I want to talk about this when we come back. Obviously, a couple questions that Spence put out there. What do the Pistons still need to add to make them a complete roster? I think one of the biggest questions out there, and this reminds me so much of Matthew Stafford circa 2011, okay? We can say until we're pissed and blue in the face, Cade Cunningham is okay. You have nothing to worry about. We can say that until we're blue in the face. Until he shows that he's going to stay healthy, that's the only way that's going to shut people up.
Oh, no doubt.
Because if you remember, Matthew Stafford, and I know for a fact, he told me this with his own mouth, China doll. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Forget that he got crucified a couple times. You know, the blindside hit in particular. You don't just get up from things like that.
No.
But that was something that Matthew Stafford took personally. Like, that ticked him off, that people thought he was a China doll. And unfortunately, Lindsey, I'm not going to go that far to say that people are saying that Cade is a China doll, but people are saying that he's injury prone. So you can sit up here with your close view and tell them every reason why they shouldn't feel that way. I can sit up there and tell them every reason that they shouldn't feel that way. I think the only thing that's going to do it is for Cade to stay healthy for 82.
Right. Well, here's the thing about last year, and some people in the chat have insinuated that the Pistons were tanking. I'm not going to go that far, but Cade was shut down a little for precautionary reasons. All right? Shin, whatever he was having problems with his shin. So, and I don't think there was a reason for him to push the issue about, playing as much as he probably could have. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But I think he'll be healthy. If he can play 90, 95% of the season, I think, and be at a level, he needs to be all-star level or borderline all-star level. He has to be right there. We have to be talking about Cade being an all-star before the all-star break in order for this team to vie for a playoff position.
Do you think it's crazy? We'll talk to you guys. I'll ask Spencer. Obviously, we'll ask Flannel as well. But first, I know they have something for you right now.
Absolutely. Guardian Alarm, of course, just like the Pistons, a great defense. Well, hopefully the Pistons are a great defense. They certainly weren't last year, but anywho, that's not the point. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs, 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call them at 1-800-STAY-OUT. That is 1-800-STAY-OUT. It's Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
You know what's interesting? We have a two-time champion in here. Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with the four-time champion, Darren McCarty. But we got a two-time champion here. And unlike Darren McCarty, for people out there that aren't aware, Lindsey won titles with two franchises. A super team. I think you could that 02 Lakers squad was a super team. And I'll tell you what, bang for your buck, 1 year, everything just fit. Pretty hard to argue with that team and the starting five, if you will, of the 04 championship. So, Lindsey, the reason why I bring that up is not only to put some air in your tires. You know what it takes to win a championship.
Absolutely.
You know when a team is on the right path. And I say that with respect because I don't care how many years you've been following sports, you've been in the business, whatever the case may be, we don't have the insight that a guy like you is going to have. So this is like one of those times where, like, the teacher is speaking, everybody shut up, right? This is one of those times. I mean, we can have our opinion after the fact, but right now, why don't we talk to the guy who's actually been there, done that, won multiple championships, been a part of multiple championships, and is a coach. Lindsey, this is how I'll tee it up for you. I like what Troy's doing. I've liked what Troy has been doing the last few years. I don't think the average human being understands that it's not as easy as people make it out to be.
Right.
More on that later with Steve Yzerman. But with that being said, the direction of this franchise right now is definitely upward. How far along are we in this process?
I think we're a lot far along than people think we are. The fact that we're young, I like the fact that we're young. We got some young, talented studs that are going to be great, I think, for years to come. But just watching them, even through their struggles, even through all the struggles last year, watching the young talent get the much-needed time was important, I think, for the organization. And now plugging in more young, talented guys, I love the direction. We're definitely going in the right direction. And I really like what I see from these guys. I love the fact that Monty will be here. And I think people are really not understanding Monty's a great coach. Like, Monty hasn't won a championship or anything, right, as a head coach. But if you watched him with the teams that he's been a head coach of, they've all gotten better immediately, And I think nothing will change here. Structure-wise, you'll see a different looking team. And someone in the chat was like, the Pistons are only better than 2 teams in the East. And I disagree because the East, besides Milwaukee, Boston, I don't know what Philly will look like. Cleveland will be good. Knicks will be okay. I don't think Brooklyn will stay the same. I don't think Brooklyn will be as good as they were last year.
No.
We don't. Who knows what Atlanta will look like next year?
I think Toronto's going to blow it up too.
Yeah, Toronto's not going to be okay. Miami's a question mark. Do they get Dame?
Chicago's a massive question mark.
Right.
Massive.
I'm
massive.
not banking on the Bulls.
No.
They're trying to move pieces. Indiana. They're Indiana. I mean, Orlando. What are they going to be? I think our team is in the mix with any of those teams. So I'm not discounting the fact that we can jump to the right at the bottom of that pack, right at 8, 9, 10. We could jump there. I'm not discounting that. And last year, the 10th team was the Bulls. They won 40 games. Indiana won 35. We're talented enough, and I think we got the right leadership in place to get there next year.
By the way, did you know you were never a Laker? Did you know that? I just wanted to. Ryan's reaction said you were never a Laker, so you're going to have to go back in your mind. You know what? I was never a Laker, was
right.
I? So you know what's interesting? I think a couple years ago, because evidently I'm a simp for Troy Weaver. I don't know if you knew that. That was another one I saw. So 2 years ago when I was doing like a daily show here, everybody got mad at me because people literally had spontaneous celebrations when the Pistons got the first pick. And I'm sorry, I was one of those guys. I didn't have a spontaneous celebration about that. Right. And let me tell you why. Because I want to see how this guy plays. And I'm not going to have my celebration after the first year. I'm not going to have my celebration after the second year. When this guy shows me that he can be a number 1 type player in the year, right. That's when I'm going to go, okay, we got a piece to build around. Okay? So the time to celebrate wasn't then. And quite frankly, the time to celebrate isn't now. For me, I put this in perspective then. And if you want to call this simp, go right ahead. I put it in perspective there. I wasn't going to get too high. And guess what? 2 years later, I'm not going to get too low. Because what this guy took over, this franchise, for 15 years was the ultimate hamster on a wheel. It was.
Right.
And sometimes the little legs were running really fast, but it wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
It wasn't going anywhere. And this is a guy that said, you know what I got to do? I got to grab the tree, and I got to shake this tree. And I got to shake it really hard. And most of the leaves are going to fall off on this tree.
Right.
And it might, you know what? It also might be a late spring. And the trees might not pop back up on the tree. But you know what I'm going to do? I have to do it this way, because if we keep doing it the way that we were doing it, when the top end is, golly gee, we got into the playoffs and, oh my goodness, we won a series, that's not good enough.
No.
So I respect a guy that says, I'm going to shake this tree. And we're going to have to bite the bullet. We're probably going to have some bad seasons.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to build it the right way. I'm going to get Cade. I'm going to go get a couple of guys that everybody's excited about going into this season. That's why I say I like Troy, because the old way for this franchise did not work. And I was one of those guys saying, you got to blow it up. You got to, I'm going to say the T word, you got to tank. This is 5 years ago, okay? And you know what? Troy shook that tree. I respect that, because that's the only way to get it turned around in this league, man. It is.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing about, building through the draft, the year we got the first pick, it wasn't as, I think Cade was clear cut the best player in that draft. It wasn't close to me. I know a lot of people were talking about Jalen Green was, and I think he'll be good too.
Yeah,
but I think Cade was by far the best player. But it wasn't like years in the past where you had a guy that you felt you knew would, like, this guy's gonna get us, by himself. He's a boost you to the playoffs. I don't know if we haven't seen that since the LeBron draft.
Yeah.
I think this draft with Wembanyama probably is like that. They're thinking this guy can catapult them to the playoffs. Hell, I think that too, just watching them play.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, but it's hard. Those guys don't come around every year. Like, those generational players, man, they're hard to come by. And you can tank all you want to. You're not guaranteed.
There's no guarantee.
Even if you get the first pick.
No.
It's not guaranteed. The Cavaliers had the first pick for how many years?
Yep.
Like 3 out of 4.
Right.
Yep.
And only one of those guys, became, I'll say Kyrie, but Kyrie wasn't the guy. Like LeBron was a guy you knew, man, he's going to make you a playoff team. He's going to make you a playoff team. Put pieces around him, championship. That doesn't come around often.
It did like the Cavaliers' #1 overall picks peaked and then started going down. It was like LeBron, Kyrie, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett.
Boy, Spence, where were you at a couple of years ago, right around this time? Anybody that was watching, I got killed. Hater. And I said, I'm sorry, it's not. Do I believe in this kid? Yep.
Yeah.
I like Cade Cunningham.
Right.
But you know when I'm going to get excited? When he stays on the court and he plays like a #1 pick. Because you know what? Here's the problem with the #1 pick. Linz, you know this. You can't just be good, man. You can't be good. You can't just go, golly gee, we got ourselves a good player. No, you gotta be a stud. To whom much is given, much is expected. Do I think that Cade's going to be there? I do. I do. Again, I'm not calling him LeBron. I'm not calling him Kobe. Those are generational type of players.
That's different.
But I'll be able to, listen, I'm going to be able to put his name up there about a lot of those #1 picks, especially the guys you just brought up, Spence. Mm-hmm. I think he'll compare very favorably with a lot of those guys sooner rather than later.
Definitely. But do you think back, like, I remember our draft, we knew Chris Webber was like the guy. Like, we knew wherever he went, they're going to win. Penny Hardaway, wherever he goes, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Like, those were generational guys. Grant Hill came here. Oh, you're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's certain guys that you see that have just a unique ability. When they are inserted to a situation, they make it better. They make it better. And it's hard to do. as great as I think Cade is, it was hard. It would have been hard for him by himself to be inserted on any team and just instantly make them a playoff team. That's tough on any young guy. But there have been guys in the past that you knew, like, man, he's that dominant.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody mentioned in the chat, Carmelo, he was one of those guys too.
Yeah, he was.
Carmelo went to his team and made them, they were a playoff team instantly.
I'm banning the D word. Don't bring up the D word. I don't want to hear the D word. I live the D word. I don't want to hear anything about the D word. Listen, we're up against a break. Lindsey, I'm going to throw this at you before the break. Lindsey will be back with this. Who has you most excited? Save it for after the break. Is there somebody on this roster right now that you said, listen, I think Piston fans are sleeping on this guy? You know, it could be one of the new guys. It could be somebody brought up Jalen. You know, is there somebody that you got your eye on that you put the circle around? All right, this might be the first break I was on time. That's going to make Flannel happy. Hi, Flannel.
Oh no, you are doing a great job, Sean, especially with the teasers. But if you guys want to, smoke a few, go to Dispo, of course, and join us and the Dispo family at their Romeo location on July 28th, this Friday, for all 4 of our shows from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Brace yourself for an unforgettable journey at the pinnacle of cannabis excellence. Located at 100 Schaefer Drive, Romeo, Michigan. See you there this Friday, July 28th at Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
How would you like to win a $100K Vegas getaway? Take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. Yeah. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win the $100K Vegas getaway at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy Cintron at your local Meijer store. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste and the choice of people who desire to look good, feel great, and be the best version of themselves. Cintron.com/Vegas.
All right, so right now, ESPN has a little report on training camp, a little update. What we know, in case you're just joining us, CJGJ carted off. It doesn't sound like they think it's too serious. I think they're going to take every precaution, do every test. A lot of times, and Lindsey, I think you know this better than anybody, you almost have to wait some swelling to go down as well, and you have a better picture of it. So hopefully they dodged a bullet.
Shout out to my boy Eric Woodward out there, man. That's awesome. It's awesome to see him up there on ESPN.
Yeah.
Great, does great things.
You know what's crazy? And I'll get to the question that I asked Lindsey in just a second. They had the big graphic up there as Woodward was on, and they said, Lions pass secondary, 30th last year. I'm more concerned about the run defense than I am the pass defense. Am I crazy for that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I
didn't know they were 30th, though.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It was bad. It was bad. Before we went to the break, I asked Lindsey Hunter about this, in case you're just joining us. The over-under on Piston wins this year is 27.5. I think if you like money, you bury the over.
You better.
I really do. If you like money, you bury the over. But with that being said, listen, I totally get the trepidation that some fans have out there. I get it. I get that you want to see Cade stay healthy. I get that so far it hasn't happened as quickly as you would have liked it to happen. I just think just the plain fact that you have Cade back makes me jump it up a bunch, and then the additions to the team. But Lindsey Hunter, is there somebody that you've been watching that you kind of put the circle around and you're going, man, don't you sleep on this guy. This guy can play.
Man, look, I love all the young guys. I love our first pick. I love, Ivy. I think all those guys are gonna be great. But I'm gonna be a big fan of the Sasser kid.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love him. Like Jason Sasser to me, and I don't know how they're gonna use him. I know of course he's gonna come off the bench and earn minutes. But I'm so excited about this kid because I think they got a steal with him. I think he probably should have been a lottery pick.
No kidding.
Yes. He's super talented. Dude can both ends he can go. Like can put it in the hole, he can defend. This kid, I'm high on him. I'm probably higher on him than a lot of people are. But man, I love him, and I hope he gets to really play and show. Because in the summer league, I think he showed a little bit of what he can really do. I think he dropped 40 in one game, and he's exciting to watch. Man, he can get it done. He can get it done on both ends of the court. So I'm really eager to see him.
You know what's funny, Lindsey? I don't think you and I have ever had this conversation, but he's one of the guys, as I was watching the draft, I actually knew who he was. Like I did. I knew who Marcus Sasser was.
Think about this, Sean, not to cut you off, but remember how the draft used to be because all these guys went to college.
100%.
So you got to know them.
Yep.
Sasser went to college.
Your draft, the 1993 draft.
All these guys went to college.
I watched all you guys. I knew everything. I was there, by the way. We were at the Palace, special day. 10th overall? 10th? Was it 10th?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, one by one, as you guys got called up, I know that cat.
Right.
I know that cat.
Right.
We knew who Lindsey Hunter was.
Right.
And I think that's a difference now.
Yes, it is.
And it's hurt some guys. All you could do is trust what you said or what that guy said about this player or that player, even the D word. All the wonderful things that people were saying about the D word. He whose name I dare not mention. It rhymes with Farco. Just in case you missed it. No, but I was going based on what other people were saying. I'm one of those guys. I want to watch a guy. And even if I've only seen him 2 or 3 times, like I probably, in Sasser's career at Houston, honestly, I probably saw him 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. But at least I knew, I remember watching that guy. He was on ESPN some random Tuesday night. Yeah. I was up laying in bed. I couldn't, go to sleep or whatever. It's so much easier for me to get excited over that which I've seen as opposed to that which I haven't seen. So for me, I'm with you. I'm like, I think this kid's pretty good.
He's damn good.
Yeah,
he's damn good. I love him. And of course I'm a guard bias guy, but this kid, he's gonna be pushing people for minutes. They're gonna have to find minutes for this kid.
That's a good problem to have.
That's a great problem.
That's a good problem to have.
See you later, Killian. Just saying. Got sass.
A lot of guys talking about Jalen as well. What do you think about Jalen?
Love him.
Yeah.
Love him. He got so much better as the season went on, and man, dude is strong he's superhuman strong. Like he's a monster. And he's another guy, I think, he'll end up being an all-star because he'll be a double-double machine, Are you
guys listening to this? This is
that kid
like you're out your mind if you don't bury that over. Mm-hmm. Like I'm serious.
Yeah.
I wish I had the bankroll so I could co-sign you and we could, you give me a 25% vig, keep the rest, but I can't do that. But okay, Flannel. I see you sitting over there. You kind of got the look on your face. I got to ask you because you are usually the guy who has no problem telling somebody if they're slappy, unless it's Michigan beating Georgia. But all jokes aside. This is like a safe pick, right? Over 27.5?
Oh, you have to smash that over.
Okay.
And Sean, I don't think you were here to hear my take on this. I am so confident that the Pistons will hit the over. I believe if the Pistons hit the under and have another terrible season in terms of wins, Troy Weaver should be fired. Because at this point, something would have gone drastically wrong. And at some point, results have to matter. You can't just keep stacking up these 20-win seasons and sort of rebuild for Evs, yo. But I think this is the time. We all love Cade Cunningham. We all love Jaden Ivey. We all love Jalen Duren. We like the Asar Thompson and the Marcus Sasser pick. I think that's pretty universal. I mean, we like the Monty Morris acquisition. I mean, Joe Harris can shoot threes. Boyan is still there. I mean, he was a 20-point-a-game, 40% three-point shooter. So at this point, hitting the over of 27.5 isn't even that big of a deal. So they absolutely have to hit the over. I would smash the over personally.
This is, as so many people, I'm so glad that people point things like this out. Thank you. The Pistons only won 17 games last year. No.
Yeah.
Did they? No, really? This roster is going to look a little different this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, if you throw in, well, what if an injury happens? Well, then all bets are off. My brain doesn't work that way. I'll worry about the injury when the injury happens, as opposed to thinking it's going to happen. All things considered equal, this team as is goes into this season. I love over 27.5.
Easy, man.
Love it.
That's easy.
Monty and Cade Cunningham are worth 13 wins by themselves. Like, just those two pieces. Having Cade back, getting Monty Williams, that's 13 wins.
Easy.
I love
Easy
that
money.
logic. Yeah, I love that logic. So we'll see what happens. Somebody said, "What about the Tigers?" You know what? Here, you ready for your Tiger talk? Are you ready? They're 9 games under 500, man. What do you want me to do? What? Like honestly, we've seen this act the last few years. I wish it was different. It's not. As bad as this division is, the run is never going to happen. Minnesota sadly keeps winning again too. So. I don't know what to say. I hope that Tarek Skubal is all that. I hope that Matt Manning is all that. I hope that there's infinitely more for Spencer Torkelson. But I think the Tigers, once again, for a lot of the fans out there, are victims of their own unjust expectations. Mm-hmm. They just aren't there yet. Sell. I know you don't like to hear that because the cute little prospects haven't panned out, but also think the flip side. 10 years ago when the Tigers were good, how many cute little prospects that they gave up that said, people said, you can't get rid of Jacob Turner, he's going to be the next Cy Young, and you can't get rid of Humberto Sanchez. But that's where the Tigers are at right now. Yeah. We were up against a break. Did I cover that all? Was that good?
Yep, good Tiger talk.
That was good. Do you know what they are right now? They're the hamster on the wheel. Exactly. The Tigers are. Whether we want to admit it or not, the Tigers. Right. And I love going down to the park. I was down there on Saturday. The rain delay sucked, but I love going down there. I like some of the pieces that they have, but guys, it's hamster on the wheel right now, and unfortunately, they're going to have to lose some more quality players in the hopes that some of these can't-miss coochie-coo, pinch their whittled cheek prospects pan out and become everything that we thought.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot out of Colt Keith. We're going to need a lot out of a couple of these guys, Justin Henry, Malloy, but it's not happening this year, Tigers fans. So.
Nope, it's reality. Yeah. So go ahead, Spence.
Let me tell you guys about something that is happening this year and every year, and that's Strawberry Fest at Big Boy, because Strawberry Fest is back. Try classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffle. If you're not feeling breakfast, try the classic strawberry bacon chicken wrap, or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. And don't forget to grab dessert, including the very delicious strawberry pie, deep fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and more at Big Boy.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, and parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Steel, and more, servicing the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more information, visit us at OutdoorEquipCo.com. Outdoor Equipment Company, your local power equipment playground.
I am a firm believer in if you take the time to listen to what a coach, and a lot of times even athletes say, Lindsey, they'll give you the answer that you're looking for.
Always.
And if you want to hear it, you'll hear it. And if you don't want to hear it, you won't hear it. And I don't know who posed this question, Spence if it was you, or Flannel if it was you, but if the Detroit Red Wings don't make the playoffs, is that a failure of a season? And it's interesting to me because I go back to when Steve Yzerman was hired, September 19th, 2019. He stood in front of all of you, and he said, this isn't going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to take a lot of time. I need you to be patient, okay? And while he didn't use this term, I can say with pretty good authority, you're going to have to trust me when I say this, that he and the people around him looked at this as a 5-year rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
A five-year rebuild. So if you do the math, that's the end of next year.
Okay.
Not now. That's one more year of kind of flailing like a fish out of water. Maybe we'll hop up to playoff zone. Maybe we'll stay back down here. And, Lindsey, this goes back, I think a lot of the things that Steve Yzerman is dealing with right now are the same things that Troy Weaver's dealing with right now. And what I mean by that is, although that Steve has a resume, and more on that in a second, I think people just think, well, if you get these high picks, and, rats, we didn't get number one, but if you get all these high picks, well, in 2 or 3 years, you're just supposed to be better. It doesn't work that way, man. It doesn't. And I think, unfortunately, that's one thing that maybe Troy and Steve have in common right now is that people just thought, come on, man, it's been X years. Why isn't it happening? It doesn't work that way, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
No, people get enamored with high picks. It just depends on who that high pick is.
Absolutely.
That matters more so than the high pick. But D-Mac was saying they were on the clock for how many years? What was D-Mac saying? Was this the year they were off the clock?
Yeah, he said they're making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, so he was saying that if they don't make the playoffs, he'll be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be disappointed, and I'll tell you why I won't be disappointed. One thing that I've heard a lot of people talk about, they try to compare his time at Tampa to his time here in Detroit. And I think that's a horrible starting point. Let me tell you why. He didn't have a young, not quite ready to be a superstar Steven Stamkos at his disposal with Detroit. He didn't have Victor Hedman at his disposal in Detroit. He started 2 steps back.
Right.
That is not a fair comparison. Was Hedman ready for prime time yet? No. Was Stamkos? I think Stamkos was, but I had a chance to see him in junior. But regardless, he didn't have those pieces here. Those just about ready to be stud pieces here. So he was 2 steps behind. So I don't think it's fair to hold him to that same kind of feet to the fire. Well, you took Tampa to the Stanley Cup in 5 years. He had 2 ready-made studs that were plug-and-play, generational, Hall of Fame type players. He didn't have those guys here.
Right. Well, Sean, is similar to what we were talking about earlier. You got a plan in how to build a championship team, but the plan often changes depending on what you already have, the talent level you already have.
Absolutely.
What you can add to that talent level, and how the team is constructed right away. Like, he came here, like you said, in a different situation. He didn't have 2 premier studs to build around, you know?
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference. And if people are expecting him to do the exact same thing, that's not fair.
I like what Hoof-Hearted, I hope I'm getting that right, said, as long as the Red Wings play like a playoff team, actually making the playoffs isn't a deal breaker, a total deal breaker. Depends on the rest of a very loaded conference. I think that is absolutely spot on. Seriously, I think that's, you know, if you're in a legitimate hunt, not the fake hunt. Last year proved to be a fake hunt.
Yeah.
Okay, it did. You know, really, you look at those 2 Ottawa games, and that was the exposure, and we all move on from that. If you're in a legitimate hunt, and golly gee, you fall just short, am I going to be devastated about that? Absolutely not.
Right.
Because you know what? Now it's about, all right, now it's the next step. Let's see if we can get a little more active either in the trade market or going out and signing a free agent. And now it's, okay, just making the playoffs. Because that's one thing I am going to hold Steve feet to the fire. Steve made a point to say, I don't want to just make the playoffs. We want to get this franchise back to the level that we were so accustomed to, where year in, year out, we were competitors, much like Tampa was. Your Pistons, Lindsey, that you were a part of. You know, we had a wonderful run, really. 03, 08. We can all sit back and say, should they have won more? Yeah, it's really easy to win the NBA title. But we can have that conversation.
Right.
But I think that's what Steve wants to get to, and they don't have the organizational depth yet. So, to the question, Spence, I'll disagree with D-Mac here. Would I be upset if they missed the playoffs? No. It's how they miss the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
If they meander this year, then I'm going to go, uh-oh, maybe we're not as close as we thought. Does that make sense?
No, that absolutely makes sense. That
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense.
I'm confident this team's going to make the playoffs this year. Because this division is loaded, and especially our conference is pretty loaded. But you're looking at Washington; they're getting older. They don't really got it anymore. Pittsburgh, they're getting older. They don't really got it anymore. Even Boston, who is coming off a President's Cup, one of the best regular season team of all time. We don't know what's going on with Bergeron. We don't know what that team's going to really look like next year. They're getting older. They might not be. They might fall down a little bit. And it's not only DeBrincat. It's adding the Sprongs, the Confers, the Gostisbeheres. Like, you have a legitimate backup goalie fight, like between Lyon and Reimer. Who's gonna be that guy? Whoever it is, he's gonna be more competent than Nedeljkovic. And I think Husso could step forward. He can be that legitimate one goalie next year, get you 30+ wins, and then you're looking at guys coming back, being healthy. I think the biggest piece of the reason we didn't make the playoffs last year was when Rasmussen went down. Rasmussen meant so much for this team. How he was. When he was on the wing, he just looked like he was playing with so much more life. He was one of the only physical players they had. When he went down, they started getting pushed around. And now bringing that back, bringing in more guys that can push other people around, I think this team is a lot.
I love your take on Boston, because that's why Sweeney went all in at the trade deadline last year. And, you know, he made the moves that he did, and he went and got little Bert. I still think Boston's going to be a darn good team. I agree with you on this division in particular, okay? You still have Tampa, who isn't going anywhere. They're older, but they're not going anywhere. You have Boston, who, again, are they going to be the machine they were last year? No, but are they going to fall off the face of the planet?
No.
Toronto got better. I'm the first guy that rips Toronto. I ripped Toronto more than anybody. 1967, bitch. But they got better, right? I mean, they did. And then you have the Buffalo Sabres were all kinds of dangerous last year. That's a good team. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Sabres. And obviously, you know about Ottawa. It's going to hurt them a little bit to lose DeBrincat. But listen, I'll go to war with Brady Tkachuk any day.
Yeah.
I know what people think about him. I don't care. I had a chance to broadcast his games when he was at the U.S. national team. This kid is a warrior. I'll go to war with that kid. And you know what? Even the Habs have gotten cute. They have some pieces. Cole Caulfield is an absolute stud. Nick Suzuki, I think one of the most underrated players in the league. This division alone is scary good. So I think it's easier said than done to just make the playoffs. And again, Lindsey, I go back. Guys, that wasn't the goal of Steve Yzerman. It's about getting this franchise back to do you remember the old saying? I mean, I was doing all those Ice Time shows back there. People would say, okay, wake me up in the conference finals. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They want to get it. It's not just about getting back into the playoffs. It's getting this team back to the point where year in, year out, much like he had at Tampa, you're going to have to reckon with the Red Wings. And in any given year, they might make that run to the Cup final.
Well, that's the approach I like. I'm an all-in guy. Like, I want to be the best. I want to win championships. And if you're not building towards that, your goal should never be just to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm building to win championships. And whatever I got to do that, of course I got a plan to get there, but whatever I got to do if I have to veer off that plan and I can grab me a stud and plug and play, I'm doing it.
Do you know what? You nailed it, Lindsey. What hurt this franchise more than anybody wants to admit is keeping the beloved playoff streak alive. I don't give two shits about making the playoffs.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't like. What good did that do?
Right.
Well, it's something to be proud of. Whoop-de freaking do. It didn't make any sense to me. It's like there was a 3 or 4 year span where the Red Wings had absolutely no chance to win it. And you know what, Linz, I'm not being disrespectful. Even like we were talking about earlier with the Pistons circa 2009 to the last couple years. Was I supposed to get excited about them going to the playoffs and getting crucified by what?
The Bucks.
What does that mean?
Hey, we got Alfredson.
Well, he's
going to change it.
All right. We're ready for the playoff run. What is it? I doesn't know. It didn't mean anything to me. So, I know. Listen, that doesn't mean that you poo-poo it. It was a great span. And you know what I like to think about? I like to think about winning the Stanley Cup in 1997. I like to think about winning the Stanley Cup in 1998. I like to think about winning the Stanley Cup in 2002. I like to think about winning the Stanley Cup in 2008. Right. That's what I remember. Mm-hmm. Hey, do you remember that year where we played the Hawks really tough? Yeah, it fucking sucked. Well, the Hawks went and won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No, let it rip.
I got the swear jar. I got to put $1 in now for the swear jar. But but that's the kind of stuff that you heard people say. Well, that was fun. That was unexpected. We went to the conference finals. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you knew that there wasn't long term there. It wasn't building up to something or something like that. So, if you have to miss a playoff again, and you get yourself another high pick, and you can't argue too much with the success of his picks so far. I hope everybody can agree on that. Then to me, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. We'll see.
You know what's funny, though? Hearing how passionate you guys are about the teams that have won championships, and then to hear you guys talk about the Lions. It's such a contrast because, and I know what it is. It's because you've experienced the championships.
I've
and
been
it's
to
like,
parades.
Yeah, you've been to all those things, and with the Lions, you haven't. So the doubt always is there. Like, no matter what, the doubt is always there. And I hear it. It's just.
It's what it like. In my life, I've been to multiple Red Wings parades. In my life, I've been to a Pistons parade. In my life, I haven't seen the Lions win a playoff game.
I was at an event. To your point, Lindsey, I was at an event with Vinnie Johnson, probably 15 years after he retired. And we were out near the Palace, and people were walking up to Vinny left and right, buying him drinks. Vinny, do you need something to eat? Do you need? And I said, Vinny, you understand? There's no better place to win a championship, right?
Oh no!
And he goes, I know that. I go, you're a legend. You guys, anybody that was part of a championship team, guys like us, we're gonna remember you forever.
Oh, for sure.
So Lion fans, remember that, or Lion players, when you guys win in the next couple of years.
Oh.
You're a legend in this town.
The city of Detroit will burn to the ground.
I can't even.
If the Lions win a Super Bowl, it'll be over.
I can't even. No, I got nothing. I don't. Do you know how many years of my life whether it be the pregame show on the television, the pre or postgame show on the radio, I will literally fall in a heap and weep. I'm not joking. What this team has done to me, how it scarred my childhood, how it scarred my professional life, I will weep tears of joy. I'm serious. It might be, sorry to my kids, the greatest day of my life. Jack and Lauren, I love you, but the day the Lions win the Super Bowl, Daddy might be happier.
I don't blame you. I'll probably cry tears of joy if they win a playoff game.
Yeah, right? All right, we're up against it, but who am I throwing it to?
Me this time, of course. How do we even transition from that? And for the record, I will probably be weeping too, but that's all well and good because now we got to talk about Swiss Insurance. And planning or sponsoring a golf outing this year, ask Swiss Insurance about hole-in-one, putting contests, and $1 million shootout coverage. For a very affordable amount, you could give away a huge prize like $10,000 or a new car. Help build your business with big ideas. Check out Swiss today, swissins.com, or call Mark at 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, one for you, one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Let one of our talented, award-winning stylists make you look handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You guys make me happy. I'm serious, you do. Like you guys, make sure you check them out, the Heavyweights, from 5 to 7. You guys have fun.
We try to.
Lindsay, I don't want to disrespect the Tigers, and I know when I was in last week, I brought this up, but it bears repeating. So my son was a huge Tiger fan. We had season tickets for years. Mm-hmm. I mean, really from 04 to 17 when he went away to college and everything. And when I was growing up around here, and I know you were drafted in 93, so you didn't become familiar with it. When I was a kid, people my age, I hated hearing about 1968. It was 1968 this, 1968 that, and I would sit there and go like this every time they started talking about 1968, right?
Right.
Now you have multiple generations. When we have, let's honor this 1984 World Series champion, let's honor this 1984 World Series champion. You have multiple generations of fans. Like we were just talking about the championship drought. Like my son, that are like, I am so sick of hearing about Kirk Gibson. I'm so sick of hearing about Jack Morris. And it's not disrespect to them. They're legends. They're always going to be legends like we talked about. Right. But you have generations of kids now that all they've heard about their entire lifetime. Spencer, what year were you born? Do you mind me asking?
96.
Okay, you were born in 1996.
Yeah.
12 years before you were born, the 84 Tigers won a Stanley Cup, a World Series championship. They're still crammed down your throat.
Yeah.
What about you? What year were you born, Flannel?
91.
Okay, 7 years. Yeah. They have been crammed down your throat, my son's throat. I don't blame you. You need your own 1984.
I thought we had.
And we're kind of getting there with the Pistons right now.
Right.
The way we glorify 04, rightfully so. And I'm not just saying that because you were part of that championship. You know what? If I'm a young Piston fan, I'm sitting there going, man, I don't want to hear about the core anymore.
Right.
I don't want. Do you know how many times I've seen Tayshaun's block in my lifetime? I want Sasser's block in my lifetime. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't blame young people for getting pissed off like that. And that's the one thing we all have in common. I mean, unless you're, I used to sit there with my dad and go, Dad, tell me about 1957. Well, this franchise stinks. And he never told me what it was like. I go, Dad, I didn't ask for your take on this franchise, okay? I didn't, you're an idiot for watching. Dad, I know we didn't talk about that. Can you just tell me, but he was so jaded and everything. I never became jaded. I refuse to believe, I mean this, I refuse to believe that you have to be a victim to your past.
Right.
You do not have to be. All it takes is bringing in the right people. Because if you had to be a victim of your past, somebody explained to me how the Golden State Warriors became the franchise in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden State Warriors were a freaking laughingstock. A joke for years. But it's amazing when you get the right people in place
get the right people.
and you make the right picks. It's amazing what can happen to a franchise, isn't it?
Hey, they owe the Minnesota Timberwolves all the praise and glory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they took not one, they took 2 point guards. 2 point guards ahead of Steph Curry.
Ooh.
2!
Yeah.
Shout out Johnny Flynn.
You don't get past that, right? I mean, you really, you don't get past it.
2.
And it's unfortunate, I mean, for me, all the crap of being a Lion fan, and I know I said this last week, I don't think people around the nation understand. I've had conversations with other guys that do, broadcasts and everything, including a broadcast in our own division. And I talked to their play-by-play guy, and I go, do you realize we won one playoff game? And he laughed. He laughed. I shit you not. He laughed. And I go, I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
And he goes, come on, man, you won more than one playoff game. I go, really? Find it for me. In the Super Bowl era, find it for me. So he sat there. You've only won one playoff game. Welcome to our life. Right? That's where we've been, unfortunately.
That's why Flannel's a Chiefs fan.
I'm not a Chiefs fan.
Flannel, you're a Lions fan first, though, right?
Yes, I just like Patrick Mahomes. Everybody has a second player or a second team when your team isn't doing right. Like a player that you root for in another sport. I mean, Spencer, we always bring it up. He's a Carmelo Anthony fan.
Mm-hmm.
He would never root against Carmelo Anthony's teams over the Pistons, but when...
So you'll never root over the Chiefs over the Lions?
No, and I'm going to be living proof of that because on week 1, game 1, I'll be rooting as hard for the Lions as anybody.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we'll see.
All
Time
right.
will tell.
So this quarterback list, can you put that up?
Yeah,
I know, but tis the season for people to get
Do you want
worked
the
up
top
about
5
stuff
or
like
the
this.
bottom 5 first?
How about the bottom 5? Can we go to the bottom 5 really quickly? I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is NFL coaches, players, scouts, and executives. This was their 6 through 10, as it were, heading into this season. Now you know where I'm going with this, so I'm just gonna say it now, right now, today, not based on the past, because I said it before. A couple of years ago, the way Goff finished with the Rams and the way his first season went here, you don't bring this conversation in. Mm-hmm. Out of those 5, who would you take over Jared Goff? Out of those 5, I say 2 of them. Personally,
I'd take Hurts, Jackson, and Lawrence.
Okay, I would take Hurts and Lawrence.
Yeah.
I have my questions about Jackson now. I loved him, but I have my questions now. Who would you take, Lindsey?
Yeah, I'm taking
right now.
Right now, yeah, I'm taking Hurts, Jackson, Lawrence.
Okay, fair enough. Flannel?
Hurts, Jackson, and Lawrence only. Although, kind of like you, Sean, the Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson I think it's closer than people think.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
Lamar Jackson is obviously a more dynamic athlete, but he's had some injury problems, and he's only thrown for 3,000 yards in a season once. Not 4,000, 3,000.
I worry when the bottom drops on a guy like that with the way he plays, the bottom drops. Like, that's what you can't take hits in this league. You just can't keep taking hits in this league. That's what I worry about with Lamar Jackson. That's my only concern with him.
I think that's everybody's concern, but my thing is with Jackson, he can get you to the playoffs with no weapons.
That's true.
Like, who did he have on his team on offense that you can...
Hollywood Brown's his best wide receiver.
Yeah, right?
Mark Andrews is pretty good, but still.
This dude every year they're in the hunt.
Everybody knows the ball's coming to him too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
he's
one of those freaks though. There are a few tight ends like that. Like you're getting like Kelsey.
Yeah.
You're good. Everybody knows he's getting the ball. Somehow that son of a he still gets open, man.
Can't stop him.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That freaking San Francisco's the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Kittle's getting the ball. Yeah, you can't stop him.
Now it turns into the Incredible Hulk. It's just the way he is.
So
he's built different.
Can you show the top 5 now?
I will.
Because people love to get worked up over this stuff.
What the hell? No Brock Purdy?
Now, can I ask you, honestly, right now, today, would you take Jared Goff over any of those guys?
No.
I'm not.
I know what somebody's going to say.
Over Rodgers?
I know. That's what I was waiting for somebody to.
Hell to the no.
Absolutely. You give me what Aaron Rodgers, what Jared Goff has here, I'll take Aaron Rodgers today.
Come on.
Still, absolutely no problem.
People forget that Aaron Rodgers has 2 of the last 3 MVP awards.
Flannel?
Oh, no. All of them above Jared Goff. No question about it.
I love Herbert, by the way. I just. You know, part of the reason I love him, though, because I missed on him so badly. No, seriously, he was one of those guys coming out of college, Lindsey. One of my buddies who we've done stuff for the Lions Network, he was like in love with him, and I said, I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, I've seen him play a couple times, and so the guys that, like, I don't know, like, I tend to go, dude, I missed, so now I fall in love with you. Does that make sense? It's like, man, I missed on you. You guys know.
He's in Oregon, right? Yeah. He was an Oregon quarterback. He was,
love Josh Allen, and whether people want to admit it or not, 95% of the NFL and the quote-unquote scouts annihilated that guy even 2 years ago. Annihilated him. And that's another guy, though. I don't care how big you are. You keep taking hits the way that guy's taking hits.
Yeah.
It's going to affect you, man. I worry about my boy. I do. I worry about my boy.
He's such a monster, though. Good Lord. I watched him run over.
He's so much fun.
I've watched him run over D-backs, and I was like, holy shit.
Oh, he's
one of those guys you got to, like, let go by and then grab him.
I love hearing it. I love hearing it. Absolutely.
He's a monster.
All right, we're going to wrap it up on a Monday or something, whatever. Hopefully we'll get an update about CJGJ. It doesn't sound too serious. We'll see if there's anything new out there. Training camp continues out at Allen Park. How big are the Lions? Everything's sold out. More on Woodward Sports.
First, let me tell you guys about Randy Wise. How would you like to see famous athletes like Jim Harbaugh, Darren McCarty, and Braylon Edwards play golf with average Joes? Thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you'll be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Make the wise choice and pay attention to Woodward Sports because we're dropping episodes. The one with Jim Harbaugh is already out, so make sure you go check that out. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you could join us. We were just talking off the break. So we're, 33 days away from week 0. I don't care who's on, man. College football's on. And then, obviously, 40 days away from Michigan, 39 days away from Michigan State. You, Lindsey, for a guy that didn't grow up here, and I tell people this all the time, this is a great sports town.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great sports town. We love our teams, as we were talking about, especially you win a championship in this town, man, you're a legend forever. How long did it take you to figure out that this is a football-first town? Did you figure it out right away?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Lions were horrible, and they still were like, everybody was going to the games. I'm like, why are they still going? I'm like, this is ridiculous. But then, football is king no matter what. I think watching the Wings win and, it became Hockey Town.
Yeah.
And then we won, and
Yeah.
you know, we were the kings for a while. But it doesn't matter when you win a championship here, man. I'm still reaping the benefits of being on the 014.
Isn't that awesome?
Yep, I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.
Gosh, it was so much fun. You know what's funny? There have only been 2 times in my life that I remember Lion fans saying enough. Like, seriously, enough. 88, people just stopped going to the Silverdome that year. And then they drafted some guy named Sanders, some kid out of Oklahoma State. I don't know if you remember him. And 07, 08 is when people, you know, even after we did the silly march, 07, 08 is when people stopped going to the games. I remember I took my son Thanksgiving 08 to that game where I think 5 different, you guys remember this one? 5 different Titan running backs rushed for 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I think Earl Campbell came out there with his fake hip and no knees, and he ran for 101 yards. But I just remember like sitting there on that Thanksgiving day going, oh my gosh, we might go 0-16. And then like it hit me after I was done having my pity party. I looked around and I was like, okay, it's Thanksgiving and nobody's here.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was like, those are the only 2 times, to your point, that I remember fans just going, I'm not going anymore.
So you guys marched? You guys protested?
We did. Yeah, that was.
It's the head of the Million Man
That
March.
was. If I could take that one back, I'd take it back. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was more headache than you could ever imagine.
Didn't they do that in Cincinnati also?
They did. Yeah,
Yeah,
we did it.
remember.
We did it against Cincinnati, and then some of the guys asked me,
that's funny.
like after it happened, can we do this against Mike Brown? And like I made it clear from the beginning, that was not about. I have never said, and I never will say, don't go to Lions games.
Right.
Don't boycott the team. Because if I said that, I would be a hypocrite. Because I like going to games.
Right.
And I'm not just talking as a member of the media. I like going to games. That was about one man. It was about Matt Millen and how that man was allowed to keep his job. There is...
I remember being here and everybody bashed Matt Millen.
He was terrible.
I'm talking
I've
I've never heard one man be under such scrutiny in my life.
Funny
The only guy
story.
probably under more scrutiny than him was Donald Trump.
Yeah. Funny story. So it wasn't his last draft. I think it was the 07 draft. And there was a snowstorm, one of those weird snowstorms, the second day of the draft. So not a lot of people came out. And I'm standing there talking. Do you remember Tom Killer Kowalski? He's my old radio partner.
Yep.
Rest his soul. Killer and I were out there together, and somebody came up behind me and got me in a headlock. And it wasn't like a soft
friendly- it wasn't
headlock.
a friendly
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think in his mind it was a soft headlock, but it wasn't a soft headlock.
man.
And he got me in a headlock, and I he lets go of me, and he's laughing, and it was Millen. And I'm going, oh boy, he might beat me up, you know. And he said, you know what? I hate you. And I go, why? He goes, I hate you because I can't hate you. He was like, you've never gotten personal with me. And I go, I never will, dude.
Right,
Like, never.
right.
Sorry,
Not
that's not my
person.
scene.
Right.
Listen, I can talk about your job, but I'm not going to talk about what you are as a human being. I don't know what you...
Right.
Actually, I say this to anybody, he was a really nice guy.
That's what I've always heard.
He was a really,
And I
really
also
nice
heard
guy.
that's why it was hard for them to get rid of him, because he was such a good person.
And I used to argue all the time, Mother Teresa is a flippin' saint, but I don't want her as my gosh damn general manager of the team. So I don't care how nice you are, fire that bitch. I want nothing to do with her. I want nothing to do with her. Right?
Yeah.
So, and it was funny because, like, but Matt was like, he was a cool guy,
Right.
but he had to go. I don't care. I don't care how cool you are. Like, later, you know, and...
Oh, man,
Okay,
those
enough.
were the days.
Yeah, we're in a better place now.
Yep.
11-6, NFC North champions. Okay, have a great afternoon.
All right. Great.